Welcome to the podcast of Terrace
Welcome to another episode of the podcast Terrace Consulting, episode 71 already. And I had the pleasure today of having with me Karen Plumb, which has lots of experience, especially in the marketing field, has a great career in the area. And I'd like her to share about her experience and some insights from marketing. So Karen, first of all, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for sharing some of your time. And as always, I'd like you to start with, from the entire industry of hospitality, why did you choose that path, that specialty on marketing precisely?
Well, actually, I chose marketing. That's where I wanted to work because I really like that mixture between creativity and data. It was really marketing first, and it just so happened that I got my first role at Intercontinental Hotels in marketing. So I chose marketing, then it just happened that hospitality, and then my career's carried on throughout hospitality in multiple roles with a few little side steps, but on the whole I've been traveling hospitality for the whole of my career. So I started off at Intercontinental Hotels as a marketing assistant and did various roles there, looking after the North Europe region. We did things like business booking plan for points for bookings, and just the general marketing and supporting the hotels, Christmas brochures, that sort of thing. From there, I moved on to it was Thistle and Mount Charlotte hotels back in the day. They got rid of the Mount Charlotte, and now it's Gaumont, I think, in its current iteration. So I was there as international marketing manager for 8 years, looking after inbound marketing. I was doing B2B and B2C there, working on various road shows, advertising, that sort of thing, GDS marketing, and there started in my career of digital marketing, which is actually my first love. Although it didn't come immediately in my career, and that's sort of where I sort of really found the interest. From there, I went to Cheap Flights, which was an online travel portal where I ran the cheap accommodation element and set up their newsletter business. So that was looking at a two-sided trading thing, because obviously it's price comparison. So I was there for a couple of years while it was quite small when I started, 24 people, and it was 65 when I left, so quite I did a couple of interim roles, one at Last Minute, looking after holiday autos, and I actually did some interim at Tesco's. And from there, I went to Wyeth, which was a pharmaceutical company, e-commerce consultant for EMEA, looking after various initiatives across the region, but I decided pharma wasn't for me. So I moved to UTEL, hotel rep company, which there's hotel rep company still out there, but I don't think UTEL exists in its what it was then. But obviously that was part of looking after all the hoteliers, supporting the sales, looking at the promotions and planning, and also looked after their B2C website for a bit. From there, I was headhunted and I went to TripAdvisor, where I launched the B2B subscription product across EMEA, which was quite a ride. I started with 4 people in my team, and within 2 years, I had 100 people, and from 4 languages to 13 languages, sorry. And that was a fast ride. And then I did 2 years of global sales strategy there, which was looking after sales processes, segmentation, and from there onto Premier Inn, where I was for 5.5 years. First of all, creating the B2B department, which was looking after sales and marketing, and more latterly 3 years looking after their digital marketing, all elements of digital marketing, because Premier Inn is an unusual hotel chain in that budget brand, but mainly direct to consumer, with 87% of their bookings coming direct. So a website that could take top revenue back in the day for a top day would be 5 million. I don't think we ever quite hit 5 million, but almost 5 million a day in revenue. So a very busy, and obviously the app. So since then, that sort of takes me up to date. I'm not working at Premier Inn anymore, but who knows where next.
Brilliant. I mean, really impressive career. I'd like to ask you on those roles, like global digital marketing, but what is the day-to-day, how is that daily operations of that kind of role, digital marketing? What does it entail?
Well, the one thing is there's no day is the same, because with digital marketing, there's a change or there's an issue. So a feed will break, Google will change the rules, there's an algorithm change. There's always something, there's always a problem. I mean, there is always, you've got a strategy, you've got a plan, you've got your big picture and you've got to do, but in the day to day, there's always something. And that's something I really like, the challenges, and there's no typical day, and it's always something to stretch your brain and to learn. There's always something new to learn, because technology, especially in digital marketing, is changing all the time. There's new rules from GDPR to cope with, to now the third-party cookies disappearing. There's always something that you've got to learn, and that's what I really love about a job, is it's just that perpetual challenge and learn. And I was also able to look at transformation in terms of how we were looking at customer relationships and building using data to get to a one-to-one relationship with customers and get personalization. So yes, that's what there was always something, and let alone with any big business, there's crisis management. Obviously, luckily that didn't happen too often, anything serious, but yeah, with websites and things, there's no standard day.
So you're saying that from day one, your first role in Interconti was in marketing, and you knew it was for you, and you're saying that you really like the change. Is that what you like the most about marketing, the ever changing? What is it that you love about it?
Well, the other thing I really like is generally, especially back in Intercon and some of my other roles, is the internationalism of it, because dealing with different cultures, different ways of doing things. It's not just learning how to translate into multiple languages, any brochure or promotion or whatever you're doing. It's actually how to work with people. And that's one of the things, one of the first jobs in my career, Intercon, because it was about learning how to work with all those different ways of different personalities, different cultures, really. And that I really enjoyed. And again, there's a lot of problem solving, because often you're given a challenge and you're asked how to deal with it. And often, there's no set way. It's a new thing you're trying to do or something. So there's always something to get your brain in gear. And the other thing I really like, it's the mixture of science and art marketing, because there's the creative side, but absolutely you have to know your data, and not in terms of your KPIs, but actually utilizing data, customer insight. That has evolved so much during my career. Back in Intercontinent, that was a lot more print and production. Now, obviously, it's, which is blast type marketing. Now we're looking at personalization, segmentation, how to use the data to inform that, and then to target and retarget people. So I think marketing has got probably more precise over my career as well, which is something that's been quite interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And will you say CEOs or owners invest enough in marketing? Is it easy from a role like you've had to make them see the return on investment on a marketing campaign?
It's been different, but I think that what's current is that especially coming out of COVID, customer centricity has to be a key factor of what any hotelier is doing coming out of COVID, is how to give the best customer experience, not just operationally, but in their messaging and marketing. So I actually think that coming now, it should be easier for marketers to show their benefit. I mean, marketing is always a challenge that you're not seen as a cost. But I mean, the joy of the digital marketing especially, is you've got numbers. You can show for everything, every pound you spend, how many customers you acquire, what their lifetime value is. So that is easier to prove what the money gets, and you just have to be right on top of that. Sometimes with sort of above the line, like television and various things, it is harder to track, but there are various brand tracking tools like YouGov and various things you can use, but that's just harder to tie the spend to the purchase, where digital, it's a gift, it's there. So
this will be no excuse from them to not to invest them. I mean, it's just, I'm asking you because generally speaking, there are some aspects where hospitality industry or tourism in general is not famous for investing much. One is technology, which, I mean, you're saying that marketing has evolved a lot during your career, and the other one would be talent. So first one in technology, do you see that investment is done or has been done from what you've seen in the industry?
Well, I think investment, there's still a lot of legacy systems which are hard, PMSs, CMS, all that. There's some hard things to change in a hotel thing. The key is, especially from a marketeer's perspective, is the availability of data and how you use data. And I think there is more investment there. Obviously, COVID is completely, a lot of companies completely stopped investment during this period. So it'd be really interesting to see now we're starting to think about what the future is afterwards. How the investment is re-kicked back into investing in marketing, because marketing tech, it's one of those things that having the technology is expensive, but it doesn't solve all your problems. You have to know what your strategy is. You have to know what you're doing. Just having an expensive bit of kit doesn't solve anything. You can probably, you could do it with a spreadsheet sometimes, but you have to know what you're doing, and the kit has to fit your strategy. And obviously with something like Premier Inn, it was large scale. And so there was the, it made sense. So I think it's going to be interesting. And I think everyone's going to be fighting for customers, especially with the future of what's going to happen with business travel. Because I think leisure travel there's a huge pent-up demand. How it comes out with vaccine passports and all the rest of it, time will tell. But I think the bigger question mark at the moment is what's going to happen with business travel, and how people are going to track that, and what they're going to do to stand out from the crowd. Because once you've done cleanliness, COVID cleanliness is your message. Every hotel will do that, or every hotel is doing that if they're open. I appreciate not all hotels are open at the moment. But what happens? How do you stand out? How do you use your data? How do you recognize customers and make them feel that why your hotel? I mean, after location, of course, because location is always king when you choose a hotel.
Location. The other topic I wanted to ask you is about training. So in any sort of department, obviously you need that onboarding, you need that training. Have you seen during your career that the companies any change, because you had a long career, on the terms of how much or what kind of training is provided to the new joiners?
Well, I mean, I think I've run sales teams, and training in sales is key. So obviously you've got to get consistent message, they've got to be completely versed in, and the tools, if you can Salesforce or whichever tools you're using, you actually have to invest in lots. So both at TripAdvisor and at Premier Inn, there was significant money investment put into training the teams. Marketing's a bit different because there's quite deep knowledge in different verticals. So there's not one training, there's the Chartered Institute Marketing type diploma, there's general training for marketeers, and they do a digital one. But if you're really interested in analytics or product or, all the different verticals, there's probably different training. And I think companies have, I think there's a lot to do with company culture. And I actually think I think it varies by company and the depth of the training. And also I've seen induction done brilliantly, and I've seen induction done really badly, which I think is very unfair to the joiner. But I think, company by company, all different. But generally, progressive companies invest in training because employees who improve are more valuable. They're also happier. They're more likely to stay. So I've sponsored a lot of people with their, where you pay for them to do an outside course, which will add value into their role, and I 100% support it.
Completely agree with you on that point. Now, going back to kind of convincing owners or GMs, let's put it like that, to invest in marketing. Now we're coming out of the pandemic, hopefully very soon. What do you think, from your point of view, should be the key aspects for them when it comes to marketing? What should they invest on mainly?
I think they've got to understand where the customers are coming from. So do they have a big brand? Are people going to find them? Are they an individual hotel that they need to work with an OTA? I mean, I think there's no one size fit all, but they've got to understand what in the new way customers are coming from. And is the more modern Instagram influencers going to work for them if you're a luxury brand or something, maybe. But I think every pound is going to be hard spent with coming out of this. There's not big pockets. So I think you've really got to think tightly of where are your customers, where are they looking for you? And if you're going to work with third parties, just look at the margins of what the commission is, because usually that sits in the marketing budget. And make sure that people are, you're not committed, because if you really need traffic now, you're not committed for the next 5 years on a really bad commission just to get yourself through the next 6 months. It's making sure you have a long-term rather than just a knee-jerk reaction on I need business now and sign up for something long-term. I think that's going to be the balancing act.
Okay, well noted there. Now, I'd like to ask you, I usually ask everyone who comes to the podcast about sharing some advice especially to young people. So two questions I want to ask you in that sense. One is, why would anyone who hasn't decided about their career go or get into digital marketing or marketing in general?
For me, I mean, obviously, I've always worked in a sort of head office, regional office role in hospitality. So I like that, in that you see so much of the company and you see the overview, and the strategy, which I always like. So it's a great place to, if you're in hospitality, generally you've got a customer-centric view. Marketing has to be customer-centric and understand the customers to bring them in, to attract them into buying the hotel. So I think it hits the same note as hospitality in that same sense. I think because there's a breadth in what you can do, you can specialize. Obviously it will be a broad brush marketeer, and it is that creative and analytics. So you have to have ability to look at numbers. You don't have to be a maths genius, but you have to have that ability to look at numbers and be comfortable with numbers. I think that the thought that marketeers are just picture people is long gone, So I think that was a thing for a while, but I think that's long gone. It's a very broad discipline, which takes in quite a lot of different things. But also, I think, as I've said, with customer centricity, the way the standouts got to be for hoteliers, I think it's going to become more and more important and easier to sort of sit nearer the top table than perhaps it has in certain organizations.
Good. So there's a career in there. And now,
definitely.
Linking it to it, there will be people who are studying now hotel management or anything related to the marketing management, and they might be thinking, did I choose the right career? Is there a future in this industry? So what kind of positive advice can you share with them to finish?
Oh, I actually think so. I mean, obviously, as we've said, I've had quite a long career, and I think the one thing about hospitality is it's very cyclical. There's peaks and troughs. This is unusual in there's a global trough. Normally, one region's doing well while another region's doing badly, so they balance each other out. But this is the first time every region's doing really badly. But the one thing I've known about marketing and hospitality is there's a down, there will always be an up. The one thing is people want to travel. Maybe they want to travel in a more eco-friendly way than they have done historically, because that's a trend. But still, people want to travel. They want to have it. It's all about experiences, and hospitality enables people to have those experiences, either as a destination hotel or giving them somewhere to stay while they're having an experience sort of in the countryside or whatever they're doing. And I don't think there's any other industry that does that. And also then with as I said, B2B business travel, who knows, but I still think there will be after COVID, there is still that need to meet people face to face. I think everyone is zoomed out. So yes, people won't be traveling as much, almost definitely, but instead of meeting once a month, it might be only once every six months, who knows. But I still think there will be a need for people to meet people, which means they generally will have to travel somewhere. So I do think the future's, it'll be bright. It will change, just like everything, post-COVID world. But there's peaks and troughs, and we're in a trough, and there will always be a peak that follows.
Perfect. I think that's a great message to finish. There will be a peak, hopefully sometime soon.
Hopefully quickly.
Perfect. Okay, that's it from my side, Karen. So thank you so very much for your time, all the insights you've shared about your career and the digital marketing world, which is very, very interesting. And yep, thanks again.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much, Pablo.
That was all for now. Hope you found it useful. Remember that you have more information on our website www.torresconsulting.co.uk, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and Twitter. Stay well. Goodbye for now.